If you can tell us more about the hemp space in South Africa, what's Cheeba's take on it?
The hemp space, in our opinion, will be much bigger than cannabis, and that's because of the downstream opportunities that it presents and the multiple industries that it can impact, from the plastic industry to biofuels, obviously housing, the hempcrete, the nutritional benefits of the hemp plant are unbelievable. So I think there's going to be huge opportunity for job creation. We've done a calculation that you're looking at about 1.3 people per hectare for industrial hemp cultivation. When you're growing hemp for something like biofuel, you need hundreds and thousands of hectares. So you're talking hundreds and thousands of jobs in terms of opportunities. You obviously get different levels. You get low level, mid level, and high level in terms of the tech. At the moment, our focus is on low tech, because your mid and high tech need quite serious capital investment into machinery. And at the moment, it's kind of that chicken and egg situation. It's like we need people to want the product, and we need people to want to grow the product, and then we need to set the supply chain up in the middle. We need processing as well. So no one's kind of making that first move. So there's little bits of stuff happening across the supply chain. But in terms of the impact that hemp can have and driving us towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, it's completely mind-blowing. There are challenges with genetics and supply chain establishment, but we're working on all those different angles to try and capacitate and bring people online. But it's an incredibly dynamic and exciting industry, which is very, very different to the sort of THC industry. And often it gets bunched into the same things, but it's a completely different industry, essentially. Even though hemp is the same plant, it is still cannabis sativa.
Yeah, and then just to elaborate on the current status quo in South Africa. So we, our Department of Agriculture, have now started since last year issuing hemp permits to farmers who are interested in basically farming the crop. And we recently, as Cheeba, did a training in the Eastern Cape early this year for about 100 farmers, which was sponsored by the actual government itself, the rural development. So that's showcasing that there's a large interest in educating our farmers in this crop because of the great potential that it holds. And I think I do have to take my hat off to at least our government is pushing in order to enable many of the farmers that want to get involved in this industry to be able to have the legislative ability to do so. It's just as Trenton mentioned, the genetics, seeds, processing, all of those things need to then be put in place in order for us to actually say we do have an industry and we do have a market, and also a demand for the crop that's out there. So I think those are the sort of like lights that need to be turned on in order for something to be realized. But I guess when you're pioneering in something new, this is how it happens, and I think when more and more research and other organizations and other countries come to showcase what's happening in their economies due to the infrastructure development, then we can actually see us hoping to get investors to actually do the same thing, and then basically empowering our people to be able to do this crop. Because a lot of the times that we found the farmers, there's a lot of interest, but there's no knowledge and there's no access to that knowledge if it's not something that's come through us. So there's a great, I guess, hunger for that and a great need to participate potentially in this industry once it becomes available for everybody.
And the barrier to entry with hemp is a lot lower, especially on the cultivation side, than high THC cannabis, which is much more highly regulated. So there's huge opportunity. We have a very developed agricultural industry industrially. We also have a lot of legacy small farmers, who can make a living off this crop. So huge potential, but obviously it's a new industry, starting from scratch. There are very few hemp sort of countries in the world, so to speak. And so we're all learning and figuring it out. We're literally building this block by block, trying to figure it out as we go along.
It could be the future of sustainability. And as we move towards this, we could all eliminate our carbon footprints and move towards a much healthier living that's circular in nature. And when I visited last time, I did see a lot of products out there. But I think as we commercialize more towards getting the right fiber and getting the right produce with consistency, to your point, and because South Africa is poised to be a strong agricultural history, and the availability of land and the availability of labor, farmers, the right sunlight, and it's located in the right tropics. I think it could be a great hemp story as well. And we look forward to hearing more on that from you guys on the courses that you have and the initiatives that you have at Cheeba. So yeah, thanks for sharing the hemp side of things.